I never told my best friend I knew her boyfriend was cheating because the night she called me from the hospital after finding out she was pregnant, she said, "At least I finally have a family now," and I knew shattering her illusion would only make her feel more alone than she already was. I haven't told this story before. Not to anyone. Not even my therapist, and I've been seeing her for almost 2 years now. I guess part of me was waiting for the right time, or maybe for someone to ask. But no one ever does. People like stories with clean endings, and this one doesn't have one, not yet anyway. So here it is. My best friend Tessa and I grew up in Spokane, Washington. We met when we were 11. She'd just been placed in her 4th foster home, and I was the weird quiet girl who stayed in at recess reading books. We clicked. Something about our loneliness matched. We grew up together. We spent birthdays, holidays, graduations, everything, side by side. When her last foster family kicked her out at 17, my mom let her sleep on our couch for almost 6 months. That's the kind of bond we had. I wasn't just her best friend. I was her only real family. When she met Cody, she changed. At first I thought it was just that new relationship glow. You know, when someone suddenly starts dressing better, smiling more, talking about plans and futures. I didn't trust him, though. From the start, something was off. He talked too smooth. Made too much eye contact. Tessa was a romantic, but I wasn't. I noticed things she didn't. 3 months after they started dating, I saw him outside O'Malley's, the bar downtown that's mostly regulars and cheap beer. He was with a woman I didn't recognize. Tall. Blonde. Not Tessa. They weren't just talking. He kissed her. Hand on her lower back, leaning in close. He saw me. I was across the street, frozen. He smirked like he'd just won a game. I didn't say anything. That's on me. I should have called Tessa that night. But I didn't know how to start that kind of conversation. And deep down, I was afraid she wouldn't believe me. Or worse, that she would, and it would break her. But then it kept happening. Cody was a regular at that bar. Different women, same smile. I even caught him once on a dating app. Fake name, different city listed. I took screenshots. Still didn't send them to her. I just couldn't. Then everything changed the night she called me from Sacred Heart Hospital. It was around 9:30 p.m. My phone rang and I saw her name. I answered right away. She was crying. Said she'd passed out at work, and when the doctors ran blood tests, they found out she was pregnant. Then she said the words that still haunt me. At least I finally have a family now. That's when I knew I couldn't tell her. Not then. She didn't have parents. Her mom OD'd when she was 10. Her dad was gone before she was born. She never even had siblings. She always told me that one of her biggest fears was being alone forever. And now, with a baby on the way, she felt like she finally had a future. Something solid. Something safe. I couldn't destroy that for her. So I stayed quiet. She told Cody the next day. He didn't react well at first, but a week later he proposed. With a ring he probably didn't pay for. A tiny chip of a diamond, nothing fancy. She said yes. Told me they were going to make it work. I wanted to scream. But instead, I smiled and hugged her. They got married at the courthouse on a Thursday. She wore a dress she found at Goodwill. I held her flowers, took pictures on my phone, and told her she looked beautiful. Inside, I was already building a fire I knew would one day explode. A few weeks after the wedding, I stopped by their place to drop off some baby clothes I found on sale. It was a small one-bedroom apartment near East Central, old carpet and peeling paint, but she made it feel warm. Candles. Framed sonogram on the fridge. A sticky note on the wall that said, "One day at a time." She looked tired. Pale. She smiled anyway. Cody was sitting on the couch, watching some car show with the volume way too loud. He didn't look at me when I came in. Didn't say hi. Just mumbled something under his breath and kept scrolling on his phone. She made tea, and we sat at the kitchen table. I asked her how things were going. She said, "Good. He's trying." But her eyes didn't match the words. She kept tugging at her sleeve, covering something. I noticed it. "You okay?" I asked. "Yeah. Just tired." That was the first time I really wondered if he'd ever put his hands on her. But she didn't say anything, and I didn't push. I just made a note to check on her more. Time passed. Riley was born in June. 7 pounds, black hair, Cody's eyes. I was in the delivery room. Held her first. Tessa was exhausted but smiling. That day, she looked like the girl I used to know. Hopeful. Light. Cody didn't show up until 2 hours later. Said his boss wouldn't let him leave early. He walked in like he'd just picked up takeout, not like his daughter had just been born. I knew then, deep in my gut, that whatever small part of him cared was already gone. The first 6 months were rough. Sleepless nights. Money problems. Tessa went back to working nights at a diner when Riley was 4 months old. Cody worked less and less. Always had an excuse. Car trouble. Slow week. Don't worry, babe. I got a side gig. But the money never came in. Then came the bruises. First it was her wrist. She said she fell getting out of the shower. Then a black eye. Walked into the cabinet. I didn't buy any of it. But again, I said nothing. I waited. I knew if I tried to drag her out before she was ready, she'd just run back. Instead, I started collecting things. Screenshots. Names. Places. Times. I went to O'Malley's, sat at the bar, and watched. Cody came in twice that week, both times with different women. I got it all on video. I followed him once. Watched him walk into some apartment complex in Cheney with a girl who couldn't have been more than 22. The worst part? He was still wearing his wedding ring. I waited. Because I wasn't going to just confront him. That would be too easy for him to wiggle out of. I was going to destroy him. The twist didn't come from Cody. It came from Tessa. One night, about a month after Riley's first birthday, she showed up at my place without warning. It was raining, and she was soaked through. No coat, no shoes. Just standing there, holding Riley in one arm and a bag in the other. "I need to stay here tonight," she said. I didn't ask questions. I grabbed towels, dry clothes, heated up leftover pasta. Riley was asleep before Tessa even touched her food. Then we sat on the couch in silence. After a while, she said it. "He hit me." Not a shove. Not a slap. A full punch to the ribs. Because she asked him if he was seeing someone else. She said she couldn't breathe for 2 minutes. I tried not to scream. Then she told me something I didn't expect. Something that almost made me drop my glass. I went through his phone before he got home. She paused. Looked me dead in the eyes. I saw the photos. All of them. The ones you took. I froze. She pulled out her phone, opened a folder. There they were. My screenshots. My notes. Even a draft email I'd written to her months ago and never sent. "I knew you knew," she said. I just didn't want to hear it. I didn't say anything. I couldn't. My throat was tight. "I was waiting for the right time to leave," she whispered. "But there never is one, is there?" She stayed for 3 nights. On the 4th morning, she left. Back to Cody. That broke something in me. It was one thing to protect her. To wait. But to know she had the truth, all of it, and still chose to go back. It felt like betrayal. Not just of herself. Of me. Of Riley. So I made a decision. If she wasn't going to burn it down, I would. 2 weeks after she left my place, I started sending the files. First, I sent them to his job. Cody was working part-time at a local mechanics shop. The owner was this older guy, Vince, who didn't tolerate thieves or drama. I dropped off an anonymous envelope with printed photos, Cody kissing 2 different women, plus a receipt he forged for a job he never did. I threw in a flash drive too, just for good measure. He got fired that afternoon. No severance. No warning. Then I sent everything to the girl Cody was most recently seeing, the one from the Cheney apartment. Her name was Marissa. I tracked her down on Facebook. Sent her a message with proof that Cody was married, had a kid, and was sleeping with other girls too. She didn't respond. But I watched her post a story the next day with the caption, "Men are trash," followed by a photo of a broken window. Then I hit the final nail. I called CPS. I told them Riley was living in a house with domestic violence. That there were bruises on Tessa. That Cody had a record. I made sure to include the DUI from 2 years ago, the one he always swore was just bad luck. I gave them addresses, names, everything. 3 days later, a social worker knocked on Tessa's door. She called me screaming. "You called CPS? You're trying to take my baby from me." I didn't lie. Yes. Because if you won't protect her, someone has to. That was the last time we spoke for a while. I found out later that Cody tried to run. The CPS visit scared him. He bailed before the caseworker even filed the report. Packed his things and drove to Portland. Left Tessa with nothing. No money. No car. Just Riley and a stack of bills. She called me a month after that. Her voice was different. No more anger. Just tired. "I'm in Montana now," she said. "With my aunt. Riley's okay." She paused. "I'm sorry." I said nothing for a long time. Finally, I said, "Me too. I lost my best friend because I waited too long. Because I thought silence was kindness. And she lost everything because she trusted the wrong man and pushed away the one person who was always in her corner. We both made mistakes. But Riley's safe. That's all that matters." "And Cody?" "Last I heard, he's working night shifts at a truck stop in Oregon, living out of a trailer behind a strip mall. No one talks to him anymore. Not his family. Not his old friends. He's alone. He should be. I don't regret what I did. Sometimes the only way to save someone is to burn everything down and drag them out of the ashes. Even if they hate you for it."